Maritime zone claimed by Somalia.
Somalia presented its case for a second day at the International Court of Justice in the maritime dispute with Kenya. Mogadishu's American attorney Paul Richler led the proceedings Tuesday. He started by telling the court that Somalia wanted the boundaries defined by a standard four-step process. Richler said that this process is the way the ICJ has determined similar cases before. He pointed out that Kenya's arguments are unprecedented. Richler started by showing that there is agreement on the country's borders.
The parties are in agreement in their definition of the relevant coast for purposes of this delimitation. They agree that Somalia's relevant coast extends from just north of Mogadishu southwestward to the land border with Kenya, a distance of some 733 kilometers, as shown on this slide, and at tab 46. Kenya's relevant coast runs in the same direction, to the southwest, from the border with Somalia for a distance of approximately 511 kilometers until it reaches the border with Tanzania.
He then showed how base points around the agreed border are drawn and how by law that extends to sea.
From these base points, it is a mechanical exercise to construct a provisional equidistance line, which is also produced by the CARIS software. As you can see here and at tab 50, the equidistance line is almost perfectly straight. In fact, it is perfectly straight over its final 262 miles out to the 350-mile limit from Kenya's coast.
Richler said that Kenya's latest filing in the case changes the previously agreed upon border.
So what does Kenya have to say about this? In its counter-memorial and its rejoinder, Kenya said practically nothing. It did not propose an alternative chart, nor did it identify any coastal base points, nor did it construct an equidistance line, nor did it challenge the correctness of the base points identified or the equidistance line constructed by Somalia. That was where Kenya's case stood as of 5 March 2021, 11 days ago. On that date, as part of its application under Rule 56, Kenya submitted a 315-page legal memorandum, which it labeled Appendix 2, Volume 1. In that supplementary written pleading, Kenya challenged Somalia's depiction of the equidistance line for the first time.
There is not much disagreement from this latest finding. Somalia's lawyer meant to show that Kenya has been busy drawing up arguments, despite withdrawing from its chance to present oral arguments, saying it isn't ready. He went on to show how the proportions of the two nations' coastlines are used to determine where international law should draw the boundaries.
This is a ratio of 1.44 to 1 in favor of Somalia. This is almost identical to the ratio of the parties' coastal lengths, which is 1.43 to 1 in favor of Somalia. The equidistance line thus passes the court's disproportionality test. There is no disproportionality here, let alone the kind of significant or gross disproportionality that would justify an adjustment of the equidistance line. Madam President, the equidistance line therefore constitutes an equitable boundary throughout the relevant area, from the starting point on the coast to the outer limit of national jurisdiction in the extended continental shelf. Somalia respectfully submits that this is the boundary international law requires the court to adopt in this case.
Richler then showed new maps that Kenya has offered and demonstrated how they don't adhere to international norms. Another Somali lawyer, Edward Craven, concluded that Kenya has so far used many means to try and keep an agreement from being reached.
The question for the court is therefore a simple one. Did Kenya make every effort to avoid jeopardising or hampering the reaching of a final agreement with Somalia on the delimitation of the maritime boundary? The answer to this question is plainly no.
He then asked the court to take measures to stop Kenya from violating Somalia's territorial rights. The presiding judge in the case, ICJ President Joan Donoghue, ended the proceedings by saying that a new letter has been received from Kenya.
That the court yesterday received a letter from Kenya and a response from Somalia that present the possibility that the oral proceedings will continue beyond today.
ADN TV will continue to post updates on the maritime dispute before the International Court of Justice.